Hi everybody, this is Alchemist 2, and I'm actually doing this video as a request that a friend of mine wanted me to field. He wanted me to talk about empathy and telepathy. Now, some people are born with both of these talents, but I think, now this is just a going theory of mine, but I have actually witnessed this and I have seen it in action with my mother and my father, and I know that this works. But the key ingredient to being empathetic is being able to be in touch with your feelings. And if you're a man, this might not come across as being, macho and masculine and I must take care of my family, and if I don't, people would think I'm a wuss, and etc. And others might think that you're effeminate. It's not wrong for a man to be in touch with his feelings. My father cries. He's not a girly man. He is the most manly person I know. And I am more than happy knowing that he is not afraid to cry, because actually crying is very therapeutic and it can release a lot of toxins. And same thing with blood, and it's probably why women live longer, because they have a monthly cycle. But they thought that bloodletting back in the day was a good way to make all the humors equal. And yeah, they believed in the humor system, and I'm not sure how true that is, but I think there was a certain kind of wisdom behind that, because they still use leeches today, but they do it for severed limbs and reattachment and all that. But anyway, going back to my original topic before I got off track, empathy. Being in touch with your feelings isn't exactly wrong or bad. It's actually quite a good thing to be compassionate about your fellow man. And if you're more compassionate and you're more in touch with your heart and the emotions that come from that center, the more likely you'll be able to be empathetic with others and feel what they're feeling, especially if you've gone through a similar tragedy in your own life. For instance, I know a lot of people who have lost their parents, and I can relate to that because my mother died in 2008, and I know what that's like, and it's challenging, but there are times that you just remember that memories will keep you sane, and that the idea that the spirit is still with you, and spirit will come when you're asleep, I think. And that's how she visits me. She visits me in spirit when I'm driving, and I'm glad she does, because I'm sure that she keeps me safe. But it just comes from a sensitivity, and our society doesn't view sensitivity as such a great asset or part of character that is integral to survival. It's more, no, I have to be rigid, I have to be hard, and actually a balance of that is more appropriate. You can't be too much of one thing, or everything is chaotic. But of course, these two things actually coexist if you're into physics like I am. The settling of the heart, meditation, it definitely helps. Keeping yourself connected with the higher power. I don't know if you believe in anything. If you do, excellent. If you don't, I don't hold that against you. I find that meditation is extremely helpful, making yourself more flexible through yoga. Also very conducive to opening yourself up. And of course, I'm reading about chakras, and it talks about visualization for the heart chakra, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. I'm sorry about that, but that definitely helps, and it talks about different stones that people think are connected with it. I don't necessarily believe in crystal healing, but I've heard that it can work under the right circumstances. If you have belief in it, it will. Anything works if you have belief in it. If your mind is attuned to such things, then go for it. If it helps, then yeah.
I got you patty melt.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
And I got you apple pie, and I brought some cinnamon icing biscuits.
Yum. I'll have that later. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. That's so nice. You're awesome. Anyway, let's see. Part 1, kindness. Showing people just a smallest amount of kindness will actually come back and help you as well. And it's a reciprocal effect. Anything as small as a smile is also very useful. And I was talking to my dad about this today. It's a expression of love. Agape love. This is a different kind of love. This is unconditional love that doesn't come from any kind of attachment or claiming on anybody else's happiness. This is just happiness for happiness' sake. Happiness incarnate. That's what I try to do. I like humor because of this, and humor is my way of showing people that I love life and that I love them even though I don't even know them. And that's one part of becoming an empath. I was born an empath, and growing in the same habitat with my parents, the closer you are with somebody, the easier it is for you to guess what they are sensing, sense what they're feeling, finish their sentences, wear the same clothing, same colors. You notice that as soon as you become nearer to somebody else. And I've just done this through observation in and of itself alone. My dad and I, we finish each other's sentences. We know each other's feeling. I don't even have to say anything, and he knows if there's something wrong. If I'm not feeling my utmost, or I'm at my best, or I'm sad, he'll say, "What's wrong?" And then he'll say what he usually did when I was little, say, "Good googly woo," and then that'll make me laugh. But and it still does. Even me just saying it just gives me the giggles. I have really come to appreciate telepathy, and when you start to lose a link with somebody, and this next part might actually make me cry a little bit, but bear with me. When my mother was diagnosed with uterine cancer, we thought we were clear of it for 2 years. She was in remission, and she rang the bell down at IU hospital in Indy, and we thought, okay, she's clear. Everything is A-okay. We don't have to worry anymore. She's gonna be fine. Well, little did we know that when she had bleeding, I knew it was a red flag immediately, because normal people don't bleed, especially not at that age. And you know what I'm getting at there, but I don't want to get too graphic so I don't turn anybody away, but this is what's happened to me the recent years. And I knew everything that my mom was feeling and thinking, and I sensed it. I could feel it in my gut, and that's actually where the solar plexus is. And it just, to me, it was completely normal. I didn't think of it as strange or unusual or paranormal or anything like that. I just thought, I've got a talent. So it's only with people that you really have affection for or respect. It comes out of a deep affirmation, I do believe, as well as just devotion for that particular person. And I had that with my mom. My mom was like my sister. And when the cancer started claiming her, the link between us, I felt like it was like roots of a tree kind of shriveling up, and I could no longer tap into her thoughts, and I didn't know what I could do for her. I could not read her, and it drove me absolutely crazy. And I thought, tell me what's wrong. I need to know. You gotta say something to me. Just, sorry. And, no matter what, I couldn't figure it out. And that particular part of the process of my mother's death was very, very difficult. And of course, I wasn't there when she finally died, but I know I was with a friend and I was going to see Forbidden Kingdom, and I'll never forget that. It was April, no, wait, it was April 9th, 2008, 4:30 p.m. And I just thought it was the worst time. It was the worst possible thing that has ever happened to me. And yeah, I don't say this lightly at all. It was just, I cried, and I barely cried during my mother's funeral. I only cried a little bit. It was more of a release than anything, because she had been through quite a bit, as you all know if you've seen my reviews before about my mother and her tragic past. And I don't hold it against her for her going to see her family, her original family, I should say, her husband and her three sons. One was adopted, still doesn't matter, it's family, and relatives, and favorite brother, my uncle, whom I never met. But it was very difficult to go through that particular tragedy, honestly. But I don't really know what to say, how to actually teach you to become more telepathic or empathetic. Part of it is just opening yourself up, being more receptive as well. Listening is key. Well, listening is key to anything. That is point number one that I wish to emphasize. I don't know how good of a teacher I am. I honestly couldn't say that I'm a teacher of anything at all. I'm just giving you experience that I've had from my youth on, because like I said, I was born an empath and also a telepath. And I could see, when I was little, I could see auras. I'm beginning to be able to see auras again. I can actually feel them more than I can see them. Sensing them is just as important as seeing them. If you can sense something, if something doesn't feel quite right, and police officers always say this, women are actually generally better about this in essence, most of the time. Not all women, but most women are, as more intuitive, and just because it's ingrained in our genes and our evolution, because from the very beginning, from our ancestors, the males were always the ones that were going out and hunting while we were gathering, and we were the ones that were supposed to take care of the rest of the clan, or whomever else was in that group. And we could always sense if something was happening. It was just an ESP that we generally have. Excuse me. Dryer's making me kind of coughy. But hopefully I've given you some insight as to how to become more empathetic and more telepathic. And meditation, like I said, meditation definitely is helpful. It's just more about being calm and serene, and it's actually being more gentle with yourself, be more gentle with others. It's a nicer, more compliant way to live with other people, I do believe. I just think it's a more amicable way to to coexist. If more people were like this, then we probably wouldn't have the problems that we have. But it's just sometimes it could be a little bit unusual to have the ability to read somebody else's mind, even from, I mean, long distances. And I've had this happen time and time again. But it's, to me, I don't consider it strange at all. I just consider it part of everyday life and just something that I savor. I just, once it's gone with the person that you loved, it's something that you just have to heal from. And I'm still healing from it. I still miss my mother, don't get me wrong, but I know I'll see her again, and then my tears will ebb, and they'll just stop. But I'm actually dedicating this to my mom, and I just pray that hopefully she's happy with what I'm doing and trying to help other people and make the world a better place if I can. Hopefully this has been useful in some way, shape, or form. If not, then at least I tried. Live long, prosper, everybody.